Welcome, Els. Thank you for making time for this interview. I've interviewed you a couple of times before, especially with the Foxtober 1 and 2 book, but now the third book is coming out. So we're going to spend some time looking into how this was created. And as your friend, I do get to spend a lot of time with you, also when it's not for Howling Riot. But today we're going to show our viewers the nitty-gritty of making this book, what it's like from an experience point of view. So, and it's gonna be on camera. I'm excited. How are you feeling about this plan?
I try not to be too nervous around the cameras, but other than that, I'm very excited about it as well.
A lot of people have already spotted you at conventions with your foxy ears and your happy face. But there are also some people watching this who are completely new. So for these people, could you tell them a little bit more about who you are?
Well, obviously, I am this divine fox goddess with superpowers that can grant immortality. But aside from that, craziness aside, I'm a full-time illustrator, and people know me best from my work for the anime convention Abunai, and for my comic work for Real Comics, and of course my fox drawings and other animal drawings for Howling Riot. And people know me from conventions. That's where I often wear these fox ears. People know me from the fox art, so it's an easy way to recognize me, like, oh, that's the one with the fox ears making fox drawings. That's it. It's actually something that stayed from a horror cosplay I once did, and it turned out to be very convenient that I can still cosplay a little while being behind the stand. Not every cosplay is very convenient when you're also running a stand. If you have to be airbrushed for 5 hours every time, then eventually your friend that's airbrushing you says, "Hey, bye," and you can't touch anything because you'll just smudge everything. So, and it kind of, they grew on me, kind of. So yeah, that's kind of how that became a thing where I'm recognized at events with my fox ears.
So do you wear them every day?
No, but I do wear them during conventions.
Is there more that you want to share about your background?
Well, I've graduated from art school with as a Bachelor of Illustration, Visual Communication, and I started drawing foxes ever since kindergarten as an emotional outlet. I didn't really fit in, and whatever emotion it was that I was struggling with, I would put it on paper through the foxes.
Before we dive deeper into the making of this art book, if you like to see more of this content and support our channel, be sure to hit like and subscribe using the buttons below. We share time lapses, and we're also planning to make a lot of new exciting content, such as skits and behind the scenes content for Howling Riot. We live stream on YouTube and on Twitch every Wednesday and Sunday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. on Amsterdam time. If you want to be notified when we're live or when there's a new video online, also hit that bell button, which basically means whatever buttons are below this video, just press them all. And if you would like to share your thoughts, leave a comment behind. We love that and we'll definitely reply. Right, that's it for now. Back to the interview. You drew Foxtober 3 in 2020, but obviously there must have been a Foxtober 1 and 2 before. So what gave you the idea to start with drawing Foxtobers?
Well, I stumbled upon the challenge in the year of Foxtober 1, and it was very interesting to me because as a full-time illustrator, it can be very challenging to make the time to create your own work, the stuff that you feel like, instead of the stuff that you are being paid for by clients.
And you stumbled upon what challenge?
The Inktober challenge. That's where you have to make a drawing in ink every day of October, Foxtober, October, and you have to post it online with hashtag Inktober and the year, and you get a subject for every individual day, and artists from all around the world create a drawing, for example, with the subject fish. So they all make their own interpretation of fish. They post it on the same day, and there's a very wide range in how it can be interpreted and in what creative way it's being put out there. And for me, I came up with the rule that every drawing should contain a fox, and it should start on a certain brown paper. So I would make it easy enough for myself that I would even dare to take on the challenge, because foxes come most easy to me, and with the brown paper, actually all I have to do is start with black and white, and from there on I see if I want to add more or not. So, because the idea of making and completing a drawing every day is very intimidating, in a way of, especially when you're perfectionistic, like, oh my god, I have to create this next to all the other work and conventions that are in the same month, and you have to let go of a certain perfectionism to be able to dare to put it online, even if you only had like 10 minutes before the next convention day starts. And that was very challenging, but it was also quite a thrill, and I really enjoyed making my own drawings in that first year, so that's why I kept on doing it the years after that.
So what's the process of starting a drawing? You get a list of prompts, but then what?
Well, what I try to do is avoid the prompt list as good as I can until the exact day of the prompt. That way I don't overthink a prompt. If I would know it weeks before, it would start to haunt me, and I would try to overplan everything. So I stay away from it. I do make a sort of wish list before October starts of all the things that I would really love to draw, and that way the distance between having the idea and being able to execute it is very small, compared to if you have the idea 2 weeks before, then your enthusiasm can kind of fade in the meantime, or you get intimidated by other ideas that might be better and stuff. And this is just like, take it or leave it, this is the idea, dive in head first. And especially with all the planning going around client work, it can be very liberating.
Is the process the same for every drawing that you create, or does this change per drawing?
It changes per drawing. Some drawings, some ideas come easily, and then you start drawing right away. And other times you make several sketches and you try several mediums, and you're just like, no, not this, also not this, out of the window. But you still have that deadline of that day, and you also preferably post it before everyone's asleep already. So you try to plan that a bit. And of course, if you paint things or do something with chalk, it's different than when you're doing it digitally or doing it with ink.
Or doing it with a writer, because
doing it with a writer, yes,
also,
definitely.
Every year there's been one drawing that, or maybe not with one, but in 2 and 3, there has been a drawing that we created together.
Yes, definitely. For this year it was Sleep. I really enjoyed making that one.
I did too.
And in the second one it was Thunder.
Yep.
So yeah, those are fun collaborations where you're writing on a drawing.
And how about music? I know it's
Oh.
very important to you.
Yes, yes, definitely. Whenever I figured out what the feel of a drawing is going to be, I try to pick the music that matches the mood as good as it can. When I draw, I usually put a certain emotion on paper, and with the right music, it enhances it that much further. Somehow, I get into this flow, this zone, and time flies by, and you suddenly realize it's dark outside after that.
Let's not forget this one important detail. How does your cat feel about you drawing foxes instead of him?
Yeah, he doesn't fully agree with that. I had to make it up last Valentine's Day. I made him a Valentine's drawing to make it up with him.
Well, he must have modeled really hard for that, because that one looked
yes.
terrific.
Thank you.
So what do you like the most about this new book?
What do I like the most about this new book? Well, next to all the things that we've already mentioned, it's what I also really like is, for the first time, it has more humor in it. There are more funny and facially expressive drawings, mostly because I started to notice that during the COVID times, where everything feels covered in a more gloomy layer, both me and the people following the daily Inktober posts, I felt we could all use a bit more laughter, a bit more fun. So I started working with more expressive characters, funny faces, where I usually try to play it safe and to just make a pretty fox. I could just make a silly fox and a crazy fox. I'm very happy with how the art that's called Disgusting turned out with Broccoli, or Throw, where a fox get a Pokeball on his head. It just really, it made me laugh, and I noticed it made other people laugh. And I think that was very groundbreaking for this new book.
So the interactions were really good.
Yes, definitely. Oh, and of course I also added, but that's not completely new, but I did add some personal development growth lesson that I've learned, especially with the prompt top stairs, which is a very, very creative way of interpreting trap. But I could get away with it because it's the Dutch word for stairs. So learning how to have more self-worth and the little stairs of how to get there. I'm really proud of the message that one gives, and I wanted to give that one an extra highlight. Because it's a lesson that I've also learned in the last year, how to be a bit more kind to myself and hopefully not jump into the next burnout.
A bit of a controversial question. Do you love all your children equally? Or do you have favorites?
Well, if we would talk about actual children, then obviously I wouldn't have favorites. But since we're talking about drawings, then yes, I do have favorites depending on the context. For example, the second drawing I made during this Foxtober 3 was Wisp. That was the first drawing in a very long time that actually came out just the way I wanted it. That I, after a very long time of a lot of stress and feeling bad, I suddenly got energy from drawing it and from seeing the result, and I finally felt proud of what I made again. And that had been a very long time ago because I had been struggling a lot, and burnouts don't help. So that was really the start for me. It might not be a very outstanding art for other people, but for me that was the start that turned things around. And after that, Then we have rodent on day 6, I believe. And that's where the first drawing started that had that humor in it, that had the crazy expressions, which was the start for all the other funny drawings that followed after that. And as a third that I would like to mention, it is Outpost. It's the landscape, this post-apocalyptic landscape. And that one didn't just give me energy, that really got me excited. That's where I surprised myself, like, wow, I can actually make this. And also after that, there were other drawings that surprised me, that I could create them. It could be sleep, it could be music, but Outpost was the start of that wave. And I'm just very excited about those drawings because they were the start of all the other stuff that was good and fun that was to come after that. And it's like I'm kind of grateful for those drawings because they helped me get into this new level of flow.
You and I started Howling Riot in 2005, aiming to take over the world artistically. So by now we probably have a secret lab somewhere and a giant laser. But if we were to say that this book, this Foxtober 3 book, is one of our creative bombs that we're dropping on the world, what kind of impact do you hope that it will make?
Well, obviously I would like people to, if any of people reading it would struggle with anything similar, I hope they don't make the same mistakes I did and can learn from the lessons I shared with them. And obviously, most of all, the whole idea of drawing is connection. You want to communicate a feeling, you want to reach, you want to touch. For example, with the feeling good drawings, you want to make people feel understood through a drawing, or you want to make them laugh through a drawing. You want to make them feel something. If it's just a drawing, oh yeah, it's nice, but it doesn't do anything for me, then I haven't reached the goal. And when we're talking about bombs, I would like to have an impact, preferably a positive one.
Good. Yeah, that's the intention, but yeah, you gotta spice it up.
I'll add some peppers there.
Yeah. As an artist, is there anything more that you have learned during the making of Foxtober 3 that you have not mentioned before?
Well, I did work some more on the anatomy and facial expressions. I was very much inspired by the Disney artist Aaron Blaise. He has also designed Nala for The Lion King and the Beast from Belle and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. Make sure with Dutch. Anyway, so I actually took some online courses from Aaron Blaise, which helped me bring both the expressions and the anatomy to a higher level.
And as a person?
As a person, I really rediscovered my love for art and how I can not only get drained by it, but also can charge my battery with it and actually thrive in it.
I'm almost sorry for asking, but there's an elephant in the room. You've created this book during the year 2020, and as we all know, 2020 is the year of COVID and of cats landing on boxes.
Yes.
Making impact. Has the pandemic in any way influenced you this year?
Oh, definitely. Both personally and on an artistic level. Well, it was both a blessing and a curse actually, since it on one hand created more time to make the drawings for Foxtober. On the other hand, it caused so much stress and anxiety that I first had to get my panic attacks under control before I could make any drawing.
Not all of the art in the Foxtober 3 book is made using the prompts of 2020. There's more art in the book. So why is that still part of this year's book?
Well, on one hand, because I skipped a year. I didn't do the Inktober prompt of 2019 because I was too busy fainting.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, joy. And I actually tried, even while I was fainting daily and having panic attacks, that I'm so hooked on drawing Inktober that I actually tried to make a few drawings that year. And since I didn't make enough drawings for a full book, I decided to add those to this year's book. So we just have a bonus. And next to that, I also wanted to make other drawings that weren't connected to a prompt. For example, giving another message of self-love. So we have a bonus day and some bonus art, and I can't see why anyone would object to having more pages and more art, so that's why.
Your art is in high demand and there is often a long waiting list for commissions. You hardly sleep. You don't do weekends. I don't know how long it's been since your last holiday. So how do you feel about breaks as an artist? Like, is it a good thing or does it just slow you down? And I want to hear the truth on that.
Yeah, well, everything you're mentioning is something that I struggle with in waves. Like, I find it really hard to balance all the things in my life, especially when I'm working on something art related or for a client. Then I just dive in 100% and completely forget how to take good care of myself. So definitely breaks are healthy, and so are vacations and weekends and nights off.
Can you tell us a bit more about the break between the second and the third book?
Yes, at the end of the biggest part of the convention season in 2019, I suddenly started fainting, and it was in September, and we really didn't know why or what caused it. They had blood tests that those didn't show anything. They thought maybe it's a burnout, but I didn't faint before in my previous burnout, so I wasn't sure if that was it. So it got me really scared because the doctors couldn't find what it was, and I was so weak and so tired. I could hardly do anything. I couldn't even do my own groceries because there was just too much information jumping into my brain. So I got very dependent on my friends and family. And luckily there was a friend of mine that does hypnosis and also knows a lot about vitamins, and she gave me a session and gave me some advice on which vitamins to try. And I got some of those vitamins and things actually got better, at least in a way of I stopped fainting. Yippee-yay! We still don't exactly know why, but I still take those vitamins just to be on the safe side. And yes, I do think a part of it was a burnout, but the fainting part felt like it was more than just a burnout. And I moved, and then actually everything looked better again, and then COVID happened.
So how are you doing now?
I'm doing pretty good right now. I've finally had my EMDR therapy, and it's really weird to not have this voice of anxiety following you like a shadow 24/7. My EMDR isn't fully finished yet, but the therapy I already had was just amazing. I didn't know you could actually be rid of this constant anxiety that's following you. Subjects that I usually couldn't even talk about without crying, I can now talk about with a somewhat straight face. And it's obviously it's not all gone yet, but there's a lot more gone than I had hoped was possible.
So everything is fine now. You never have a bad day anymore, and your desk is sparkly clean.
Well, obviously I've got everything under control, and the fairies that clean up as well. So everything is fine.
And now the truth, please.
Yeah, no. It's like playing a game, and you're really not good at that game, and you first play it at hard mode, and now it's turned to normal mode, like medium mode. So it's not easy, but it is a lot more doable if you already struggle with the level. So when it comes to my sleep cycle, when it comes to chores, it's not perfect yet, but it's a lot less heavy. Like life feels a lot less heavy, and with that also the things that cross my path in general feel less heavy. And of course, if something bad happens, I'm still swept off my feet and just, or how do you say that, crash to the ground, probably more like it. But I get back up more easily, and things don't hurt me when they don't have to hurt me. It doesn't serve you when you tell me your problems and I start to cry harder than you because I'm so empathic. How do you say empathetic? I'm not pathetic. Empath, something in that direction. I feel you, kind of thing. It doesn't help you if I cry harder than you do about your problems. So there's more balance in that.
Are there things in the near future that you're looking forward to, especially artwise?
Well, of course, there's this project that we're still working on. It's called Ghost of the Mangrove. We did some major changes in that as of recently, and those will help in actually bringing it to a finish, hopefully this year. And next to that, we of course also have the live streams we have every week, which I really look forward to every time. It kind of turned into another form of Inktober, where I get to draw whatever I feel like. And with that, I also want to challenge myself. Well, obviously, I get a little nervous when people are watching when I'm drawing. But next to that, I actually really enjoy challenging myself. Also drawing other animals than foxes. I mean, there's a lot of foxes on the table during stand duty when we're with Howling Riot. But I also would love to have more felines in there, both big wild cats and small ones.
So yes, speaking of live streaming, you've gotten into this with me and also with Jay. How does it feel to have an entire community being on this art journey with you?
Yeah, it feels really cool. It feels pretty amazing to see people join us every week again, and also to have to capture just that feeling that we often have at the stand during COVID, that we can still have that interaction and that crazy fun with those people. I just really enjoy that. And yes, of course, it can still be a bit nerve-wracking because everybody can see what you're doing and you're being distracted all the time. But then again, it's also a lot of fun. And I also kind of learned to let go of that perfectionism a bit more.
if old and new fans want to join the Howling Riot pack, where should they go?
Well, if they want to experience us live, then I would definitely recommend them to look us up on YouTube and on Twitch. And when it comes to seeing what else we're making, I would definitely advise Instagram and Facebook, just Howling Riot.
And where can they get the book?
That's I think at the website, at our website, howlingriot.com.
Thank you, Els, for this interview and for making the time to let everybody know what it was like and giving deeper insights. I really enjoyed this talk with you, and I hope that everybody watching did as well, and of course that you did. So thank you very much.
Thank you too. The pleasure was all mine. Woo!